Okay, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Walden Art. Today we're going to be doing art review and critique based off of Shauna's work. We've seen one of Shauna's previous work in one of our previous videos. Today this is a new drawing that she's created, and then we're going to take a look at it. Before we take a look at this video, a little bit about me. My name is Walden Wong. I'm a comic book artist from Marvel DC. You can check out my website. It's waldenwongart.com. Over there you can look at different things about me and my work for Marvel DC and many different comic book publishers. And if you enjoy these videos, please think about supporting me over on Patreon. My Patreon is patreon.com/waldenwongart. Over there, there's different tiers that you can look at. Also a mentorship tier, which leads me to this video. So without further ado, let's take a look at Shauna's work. Here we go. Okay, so this is Shauna's drawing. She created this artwork. Let's take a look. And then she had some questions when she sent me this image. So she sent me some reference photos. This one with the hair, and then this is the question that she asked. Before we look at the questions, let's look at some of the other reference photos. Here's another reference photo, and here's another reference photo. So Shauna is creating a graphic novel, and she's asking me to critique some of her work. But so here are some of the questions. This is my first page. I feel like it could use a total redo. It's based off of Alberta flag behind the woman as she's leaving Alberta. So one thing is, if you're drawing a page, Shauna, instead of inking it, because you're spending so much time and you want like a reference, maybe try penciling it first. That way you don't have to spend the extra time inking it. That's just for the future. So just something that you can like a lot of artists, when they're creating comic book artwork, what they're doing is they'll have the script. After the script is done, they'll pencil the artwork, and penciling stage, it gets all approved before it goes to the inking stage. So if there's something that can be adjusted, that can be like redrawn on the existing pencil page. That way you don't have to like ink the whole page and then having to like redraw and ink the whole page again. And then we're going to take a look at some of the questions. Okay, so the first question is, I don't like the dress. So let's take a look at the dress. Okay, so the dress, so there's a few areas on the dress that we can change to make it look a little better. Let's have this part of the dress, I'm going to mark this in red so we can see it more in details. Okay, let me get the red color. And for this dress, let's make this part of the dress go a little bit higher. Actually, I'm gonna make the resolution a little bit higher. Image size. Right now, resolution is too small. We're gonna make this maybe 300. Okay, and then when I make markups, we can see it better. Okay, there. Now we can see the reds a little bit better. Okay, so right here, I would make this part dress kind of go a little bit higher. So if I'm drawing this, I'm just gonna erase this part so you can see what I'm doing. Erase this part, and then draw that dress kind of like this. So it's going over. Same with this side, have this side go a little bit higher. And then this line goes here, have this kind of come in here. Let's take a look at the bottom of the dress. Okay, the bottom of the dress, there is a tangent, which we don't want to keep tangents. Tangent is where you see this leg connects to this fold line. I wouldn't have that fold line. I'm going to get rid of that line first. Okay, and then here, this dress, I would have this dress kind of like wave out a little bit. So I'm going to erase this part here, and then have this dress kind of wave out, and then this one kind of loop around. Okay, so erase this part. So there's some kind of motion in the fabric. And then these lines here, let's add a loop around over here. So I'm going to erase this part. And then here, let's just add a kind of like a loop like that. Let's see, let's make a better looking loop. Maybe like that. Okay, we erase this part. And then now we draw the lines accordingly. Okay, so we're gonna have the loop of the dress flowing, and instead of having like with wind, and especially if you have the dress, instead of having that line so straight, Shauna, what I would do is have it more of a curve. So from here, have that curve outwards, and then have it kind of like flow a little bit, and then this part can be like the back of the dress. So these lines, because I'm looking at the background, and then I'm seeing the hair. There's like just like the hair is flowing that direction, so I make the dress kind of have some kind of flow to it. Okay, so I'm going to erase this line, erase this line, erase this. Actually, let me see if I can erase it with the same color that you've been drawing with, so it looks a little bit better. So erase this, erase these lines, just so we can see a little bit better. So give it more of a movement on the dress that you're drawing. See, like that. Okay, so now there's some movement, and then if you like, you can even add a little bit to the back of the dress, like a little bit, like maybe like this going that way. And I'm going to erase this part. So now you see the bottom part of the dress waving through the wind like that. Okay, let's take a look at. Let's see. Okay, I think that for proportions, I would add like maybe the rib cage a little bit. Just add a little bit of the rib cage and then the stomach, like this. Okay, and then a little bit of the hip before you add that that part over here. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Okay, next question. The eyes are buggy. Let's take a look at the eyes. Okay, let's zoom in. Okay, the eyes are okay. So a lot of times when I'm drawing artwork and you have two eyes, I would draw and then I would choose which eye I like more. Okay, so the eyes are buggy because this area of the eye, there's like more whites here and then less whites over here. So the eye looks a little bit off. So let's just say we want to keep both eyes the same. So I'm going to erase this eye and I'm going to redraw it. Actually, you know, instead of drawing it with red, I'm going to draw it in black. Similar color that you drew it in. So here, let's see, I'm going to use my brush, and then I'll draw that eye roughly the same size, like this. And then when I draw the eyes, I want to keep that area the same. I want to keep the white part the same. Okay, so the sclera, which is this white part here and this white part here, you want to keep it similar on both sides. So I will have that eye like that. Okay, so it looks similar. Another thing when I'm drawing eyes, I like to have the top eyelid a little bit thicker and darker because the shadow casts an eye. The eyelid casts a shadow, so this way your eyes are a little bit more similar. Okay, I would also have that eye maybe a little bit closer to the face. So I'm going to nudge it over maybe like that. So now cancel. Now we take a look at the eye. A little bit lower. There we go. So there. So now the eyes, they're both looking at the same direction. It wasn't like one bigger, one smaller. They're both looking at the same direction. So that's one thing you can do with the eye. Okay. Let's see. Okay, good. Let me take a look at the next question. The hair looks too much like spiral pasta. Let's take a look at the hair. Yeah, so now when I'm looking at here, I do see that you're creating a pattern over here. So there's a pattern that they look like macaroni, they look like pasta. And then like when I look at up here, you're also creating a pattern. When you're drawing hair, try not to create too much of a pattern. You did send me a reference photo, and when we look at these reference photos, there's really no pattern here. Everything is individual. Everything is flowing individually. Like these loops, those loops are all flowing individually. But sometimes it's easy to lose track and create a pattern without knowing. So when I'm drawing here, I'm gonna draw maybe up here. So let's create one paper image, canvas size. I'm gonna create a little bit more paper on the top. The height of it maybe is make it 9. Okay, so if I'm gonna create here, if I'm drawing here, let me use red. Okay, if I'm drawing here, I would draw all like individual strips first. Okay, individual strips. You can draw your loop this way, and then I would draw like another strand of hair going like a different direction, like this. Okay, so I think of it as drawing strips of strips. Okay, like that. Okay, like this, and then I would have some maybe going a different direction, like this. And then after you have all those, like the main lines drawn, then you can go in there and add the little details, the little smaller details of the hair, like this. Okay, so as opposed to just drawing like one whole section at a time, and you're creating one section here, creating another section here, and you create another section here. But what you're doing is you're looking at the reference photo, and some of these, they're overlapping. So this is overlapping this. Let's go back. This strip here is overlapping these bottom ones. These also, there's one that's shorter, this one is taller. So when you're drawing your hair, right over here, have some, let's see. Oh yeah, let me go back to my reference photo. Yeah, so draw some hair, go up here, draw some that's like a little bit longer, a little bit short, some shorter, and then just going different directions and just create them as strips. So I'm doing this really quickly, just draw hair like that. Think about the wind resistance and the way it's flowing, and then just draw the hair accordingly, like that. Okay, so we're here. Just don't create patterns. So we have these loops. Those are patterns, and then you also have the same kind of loops that's on the bottom. Those are patterns. Try to have some maybe going this direction, and then this one kind of go up and then kind of go this direction. Some of these, they're just coming off this way. Some of these flowing this way, because curly hair just goes all different directions. This one looks nice. Okay, and then some of this hair, instead of it flowing to the front, have some of it kind of flow backwards. The front of the hair, instead of creating these loops that's similar all the time, just create some of them going kind of like flowing in the wind, going a different direction like this. Have some of this going outwards like this. Okay, just don't create patterns. That's the only thing. It just, like, I would get rid of these completely. Like, get rid of those. You can draw hair, like, instead of just doing like the macaroni pattern, the pasta pattern, try to draw them like this, and then create another loop like this, and then this one just goes around, and then this one goes like this, like that. I think that's what you were trying to go for. So we have this here, we have this loop that goes here, this one goes around this way, and then this loop goes this way, and then it gets smaller and then smaller, and then we have the hair. Okay, let's take a look at your other questions. The hair looks too much like spiral patterns. The clouds needs to change. Let's take a look at the clouds. Yeah, so the clouds, again, these are patterns. We try not to get too much into patterns, okay? Clouds are natural and everything looks separate. I'm gonna draw how I would draw clouds. So I would draw clouds forming different shapes like this, okay? And then the outside of the clouds, right over here, create, like, I see clouds as like kind of like a cotton a little bit. Okay, so some clouds can go on top of here, and then don't be afraid to draw some clouds on the inside. And then the outside, it doesn't have to be like completely filled. You can leave like a blank space like this, and that's okay too. And just go in there and create clouds like that. And then on the other side, we can go in there and just create poofy patterns. You can kind of break up the lines if you like this, and then break up the lines like this to create cloud patterns. Okay, like that. But you know, like Shauna, the way you draw your clouds there's still nothing wrong with it. It still looks okay. It's just a different style of drawing. The comic book style we usually draw is we draw clouds kind of like more flat like this. So there's like different shapes because the bottom of the clouds is flat. But to make it rectangle, you're just gonna have to create some of those patterns on the top, almost like a sunset of clouds like this. You can do something like that. Okay, hope that helps. Next question is, I like the water with the islands. Let's take a look at the water. Good. I like the broken water. So let's talk about perspective in water. There's a foreground, middle ground, and background. So let's take a look at this area. So when you're drawing, the water does look good. When I'm drawing water, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit closer. Water that's further away, we have little dots like that. Okay, the lines are also small. Water that is close to you, your dots are bigger, and then the waves are a little bit wider. And then as you get closer to the bottom, you want those to be a little bit even thicker. Okay, what this does is it creates depth into your artwork. So you can see that water is in the back, and then as it approaches to the bottom, it gets closer to the viewer. So back here, you have lighter dots, shorter distance. Right here, you have thicker dots, and then wider distance. And then on the bottom, you have like wider dots, like this. Okay, that's one way that you can make water look like there's distance. But for now, when I'm looking at it the way you drew it, there's nothing wrong with it. It just looks like it's really far away. But if you want to create distance, just make sure that the back of the water has smaller dots, and then the bottom of the water has wider, longer, and thicker dots. Okay. The island looks good. Again, don't create patterns. Try not to create patterns, Shauna. So I would have some of these chunks like this, and then like this, and like this. Instead of them looking like trees, try to make them look like different size, like this, and then some in between, like that. Okay, so they look like islands there. And then on the bottom of the island, it doesn't have to be straight. Some of them can be like coming out this way. Okay, next question. The wheat is okay. Let's take a look at the wheat. So the wheat down here, the wheat is okay. I imagine wheat fields as they're not always growing straight. Sometimes they're flowing this direction, sometimes they're flowing that direction. So what you can do to create a wheat pattern, not a pattern, but to make it look more natural, and then at the same time I'm looking at the wind. The distance of your wind is going that direction with her dress and with her hair. So maybe the wheat, I can draw it going, some flowing this way, and then I'll draw the line first. Let's see how you drew it. Yeah, you drew the center first, actually. You drew the center. That's interesting how you did that. Okay, so I would draw the wheat like this, and then maybe draw the center going this direction. Draw a few in the front first, like this. Okay, and then maybe one going this direction. I admire you for penciling everything in and then inking it and then asking for a critique afterwards, and then you're gonna redraw it. That's there's nothing wrong with that. It's just more work. And then some going this direction and then draw underneath, and then maybe like a few more going different directions. Draw this here. Okay, draw this way. Draw this one this way. And then draw this one this way. Just go in there and then fill in between. Like fill one in between and then draw this one here. And then fill one in between going this way and then draw it behind. So like just draw all the ones in the front first and then keep going and draw it on the back. Okay, so that way they're not all lined up perfectly in a row like that. Okay, let's take a look at your next question. Let's see. The hills, let's see. Let me zoom out. The hills, mountain, and the sky could all be improved with a different style, I think, some of which I've seen in other works. I've included some reference for what I think are those better ideas. Hills and mountains. Okay, let's take a look at the reference. Okay. I don't see any reference for hills and mountains. Let me see here. Okay, I don't see any hills and mountains. Let me read your question again. The hills, mountains, and where's the hills? Are these the hills? Okay. Oh yeah, these hills. These hills. Okay, let me see. I don't. Oh, you're talking about these hills and mountains. Okay. So your artwork is more textured compared to the hills and mountains on these ones. These are more like a plain and simple design. Yours is more textured. I would draw the hills a little bit different, and then the mountains a little bit different. Let me show you how. I'm going to create more paper. Image, canvas size. I'm just going to make the width 679, and then make some on this side. There we go. So with the hills, I would draw the hills kind of like this direction. Just draw a few of your basic hills, and then for like instead of having dots that goes like this. We'll take a look at the reference photo. You see, they kind of like go towards downwards this way. That's just like ice on the hills. Do you have ice? So you do have a little bit of ice. So I would draw those hills kind of go here and create like a textured ice pattern like this. And the same for the top here. And then some over here. So now we know that the top of the mountain like this, some spots over here like this, and then some over here. See, and then add some splotches like that. And then from here, you can add the textures that you like. But all these textures, they're kind of like pointing towards the center, like right over here, the top of this. So you can create those dot patterns and then add some that's a little bit more to create like a different shape of the hill, like this. And then just add a little bit more and just add mountain textures like that. So this is another way that you can draw the mountains. Okay, and then the floor of the hill, let's take a look at the reference photo. Floor of the hill, there's really no hills, so I'm going to draw some of the hills based on how you drew it, like this. I'll add some bumpy textures to it. Instead of it being smooth, just add some bumpy texture, and then add some road tracks like this. Break them up a little bit. So I'm looking at yours. Again, there's nothing wrong with the way you've done it. It actually looks pretty nice. I wouldn't have this connection over here. Okay, like this strip over here where just underlaps it, I would have it flow instead. So like, for example, the way you did it over here, everything flows nicely and that looks good. But this one, how it looks like there's like a strip that goes underneath here, I wouldn't do that. So in order to draw that, I would add these lines like this, and then I would go in here, and if I have something that's going this direction, kind of continue the flow a little bit. So you can still see the hills going that direction, but it doesn't seep underneath. That's what I wouldn't do. I would have everything kind of flow flow nicely. So we have, like, for example, here's some going this direction. Break up some of the lines. So, closer to you, you want to make those lines a little bit thicker, maybe really thick here, and then some that goes this direction, and then continue flowing. Some that goes this direction, and then like that. But don't have it fold underneath, if you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so we have actually, let me draw a few more of those lines. This one goes this way, and then just kind of break off the lines. This one goes this way. Here's another hill like this, and kind of have this go this direction. And then you can go in there and just add, if you like the texture, if that's what you're looking for, just go in there and just add a little bit more lines in between like this. Don't crisscross lines. Try to flow as nicely as you can. And again, keep in mind, objects that are closer are thicker, and the objects that are further away are smaller. You do want to make the holding line, which is the outline of the mountain or the hill, a little bit thicker, so you can differentiate the texture lines as well as the holding line. So the holding line you want to make thicker, and then the inside line just make it thinner. Okay. Same with the mountains. I'm gonna go in here and then kind of make this one thicker because that one's closer to the front, and then this one a little bit thicker, and then the other two we can just make it like a little bit smaller. So we have those hills like this. Okay, next question. Okay, so there you go. I answered all your questions. Hopefully that helps. There is something that I was looking at that I noticed that was kind of off a little bit. So the anatomy over here, I'm going to erase this line. I think there's a neck over here. Now we kind of erase that, so now we have more of a neck. I do want the shoulder to be a little bit higher when you're drawing. I'm going to go and erase this part here like this, and then I'm going to redraw the anatomy a little bit for you. Okay, so now we have, let me grab red so we can see better. So we have the shoulder going here, and then we have this dress like this, and then we have this neck. Because at first we couldn't see where the neck is unless she doesn't have a neck like this. Okay, And then we have the arms. The arms, I notice, is a little bit straight. It could be a stylized thing, and there's nothing wrong with the way it's drawn. But when I look at the legs, I notice that you have a shape to the legs. Okay, so I'm gonna create some anatomy to the arms. So we have this part. We have the arms, which is a little bit wider, and it gets narrow over here. And then the forearms has a little bit of width, and as you go to the wrist, it's a little bit more narrow. So we want a little bit of that shape going on. So we have this one, the shoulders, we have the arms, and then we have the wrist, the arms. You want to make that a little bit just slightly wider if you can. So I'm going to erase this part so you can see it a little bit better, like this. And then we have this part. Just create those bulges that you created, just like the way you did the legs. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the legs. So we have her right leg, which is closer to the viewer, and then her left leg, which is further back. Looking at this, it looks like this leg is wider than this leg. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this part of the leg a little bit wider. Okay, so we take this. I'm just gonna control it. I'm gonna move this a little bit over to the left. There we go. Okay, there. So now it looks well, it's a little bit too wide for the body. I'm gonna just make it maybe a little bit like this. Okay, I'm gonna change the layer, flatten image. I'm gonna go in here and make this line like that. There we go. So now her right leg is a little bit wider than her left leg. I think all the legs are a little bit wide. That's okay. Now I noticed another thing that you drew was the shoes. Okay, so this shoe I wouldn't draw directly in front. Okay, let me show you how I would draw your shoes. So we can just show Control J just so I can duplicate it. See. There we go. Okay, layer, flatten image. So I'm going to erase this part of the shoe. Erase this part of the shoe, and I'm going to redraw the shoe pointing outwards a little bit. Okay, so when I say pointing outwards, you want to draw that shoe kind of coming out this direction a little bit. Okay, so we have this. I don't know if I want the shoe to like come out that much. Maybe have it come out just slightly like this. So we have this part of the shoe, and we have the heel of the shoe like this, and we have a little bit of the top of the shoe like that. Okay, and then the ankle of the shoe, we can do it like that. Okay, so this, just have it pop out a little bit, and then add some shadows underneath here, and then just part all black for the shoe. Okay, let me go in here and adjust this. There, get rid of that part. There, and now we have the shoe kind of like going outwards. Okay, let me take a look at some of these. So the texture drawing on the bag, I noticed that you have some of these lines over here. They're kind of thick and they're kind of gray tone. Let's not have this part too dark, like this part over here. It's taking attention away from the rest of the drawing. Try to keep everything consistent. Like I'm gonna take, for example, let's see. I'm gonna take this part that you created here. I'm just gonna steal like another part of it, and I'm show you what I'm talking about. Let's say we use. I wonder if I can do. Let's see. Well, you know what? Let me redraw. It will probably be quicker. So I'm gonna erase this part. Okay, this part also too dark. Okay, this part also too dark. This part also too dark. This part also too dark. Same with this one. Okay, I'm looking at it. We want to keep everything kind of like the same tone. That way it doesn't take away attention from the whole overall drawing. And then now when I'm drawing it, the way you draw on these lines over here, you want to keep it consistent. Okay, so you don't have like this, and then here we have this part over here, and then we have this part going this way. This way, the same grays are similar, like this. Okay? That way you don't have any black splotchy areas that takes away attention from the overall drawing. Okay, like this. So kind of, you get the idea. So the same tones throughout the bottom part of it, that would be okay. Just do crisscross patterns. So keep the same tones like this. Just keep going, the same width of it. Doesn't matter which direction you go, doesn't matter which amount, as long as the distance are the same and there's no darker tones. So the wrong way to do it is, all of a sudden you have this part here, whereas everything is like the same tone. All of a sudden you have this part like this. Okay, that like right away we can see that just takes attention away. And this is Shauna's drawing. It looks pretty good. So for all of this, comment down below. Let me know what you think. This is Shauna's work. Shauna's gonna be making a graphic novel of her own, and I can't wait to see the whole project being finished. I do like the gray tones that you created on the fabric here. That looks really, really nice. Yeah, that gray tone that you painted, it looks really good. The patterns that you created also looks good. It's just making sure that some of those patterns doesn't overlap certain areas. And also the hair, just, oh yeah, I think these are birds. Okay, so one more thing before we end this video. Like the birds, the wings, I think these are birds. Instead of having the wings go parallel with the wind, unless that's what you want, I would have those birds kind of wings go up a little bit, so they're not tangent with the horizontal lines over there. And then that's it. And then this is my critique of Shauna's work on the first page of the graphic novel. So there you have it. That's Shauna's art review and critique for this first page. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Like, share, and comment down below. I'll try to respond to everyone's comment as much as I can. Check out my website, is waldenwongart.com. So if you want to find out more about me and my work in Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and if you're interested in me doing a art review and critique video such as this one for you, check out my Patreon page. It's patreon.com/waldenwongart. Over there, there's different tiers to sign up for art review videos like this, or if you want to show support in me making these videos for you to enjoy, please think about showing support there. So until next time, keep drawing, keep creating, and enjoy what you do when you're drawing.